Satkaya. 3 Texts on Consciousness Only. By Xian Sang. The 30 Verses on Consciousness Only by Vasubandhu. The Treatise in 20 Verses, on Consciousness Only by Vasubandhu. Translated from the Chinese of Xian Sang Francis H. Cook. First printing, 1999 Numata Center for Buddhist Translation and Research.
Chapter 11. The Holy Path. Such are the characteristics and nature of consciousness only that has been demonstrated. Who awakens to it and enters, how, and by how many states? Those who are endowed with the 2 dispositions of the Mahayana enter and awaken to it gradually, in 5 states. What is the meaning of the 2 dispositions of the Mahayana? The first is the inherent disposition, that is, the causes, i.e., seeds, of pure dharmas existing naturally from beginningless time adhering to root consciousness. The second is the disposition created by perfuming, that is, those that are created by perfuming brought about by hearing, etc., from hearing the Dharma that flows uniformly from the realm of the Dharma. One must possess these 2 dispositions of the Mahayana in order gradually to awaken to and enter consciousness only.
What is the meaning of the 5 states of awakening to and entering consciousness only? The first is the state of equipment, that is, cultivation of the aids to liberation of the Mahayana. The second is the state of added effort, that is, cultivation of the aids to penetration of the Mahayana. The third is the state of thorough understanding, that is, the path of insight dwelled on by all bodhisattvas. The fourth is the state of cultivation, that is, the path of cultivation dwelled on by all bodhisattvas. The fifth is the state of culmination, that is, abiding in supreme, perfect awakening. What is gradual awakening to and entering consciousness only? It means that in the state of equipment, the bodhisattva is able deeply to believe and understand the characteristics and nature of consciousness. In the state of added effort, he is able gradually to subdue the grasped and the grasper and promote a true view. In the state of thorough understanding, he thoroughly understands in accordance with reality. In the state of cultivation, he cultivates what he understands over and over in accordance with principles he has perceived and subdues remaining obstacles. Arriving at the state of culmination, he emerges from the obstacles perfect and clear. He is able to the end of time to convert varieties of sentient beings and cause them to awaken to and enter the characteristics and nature of consciousness only.
1. Stage of equipment. What are the characteristics of the first state, that of equipment? The verses of Vasubandhu say, as long as one does not generate consciousness that seeks to abide in the nature of consciousness only, one is still unable to destroy the propensities of the twofold grasping. The treatise says that everything from the arousal of a profound, firm, great thought of awakening up to the not yet risen penetrating consciousness and the seeking to abide in the real nature of the ultimate truth of consciousness only is included in the stage of equipment. This is because in order to advance to supreme perfect awakening, one repeatedly cultivates many superior kinds of spiritual equipment. For the sake of sentient beings, one energetically seeks liberation, and as a result, this state is also named aids to liberation.
Because in this state the bodhisattva relies on the superior power of the 4 consisting of cause, i.e., his class, good friends, attention, and equipment, consisting of merit and knowledgeable, he has a profound faith in and understanding of the truth of consciousness only. But despite this he is still incapable of comprehending the emptiness of the 2 graspings and resides for the most part outside, cultivating the practices of bodhisattvas. Therefore, as far as the propensities attracted by the twofold grasping are concerned, he is still without the power that would enable him to subdue the propensities and prevent them from generating the actual activity of the twofold grasping. The words twofold grasping indicate the grasping of the 2 graspings because of its nature of grasping the grasped and grasper. Perfuming from the 2 twofold grasping is named propensities because they pursue sentient beings in slumber concealed in the store consciousness. Or, they are named propensities because they pursue and increase transgressions. They are the seeds of both the obstacle to that which is to be known and that of the passions.
2. The 2 obstacles. Regarding the obstacle of the passions, at its head is satkaya-drsti, the view of real personhood, of grasping an imagined real self, and it is made up of 128 fundamental passions and the various secondary passions that are their issue. These torment and vex sentient beings in mind and body and obstruct nirvana, and are named the obstacle of the passions. As for the obstacle to that which is to be known, at its head is the satkadya-drsti of grasping imagined real dharmas, consisting of views, doubt, ignorance, craving, hatred, pride, etc. They obscure the nonerroneous nature of the object that is to be known and obstruct bodhi, and they are known as the obstacle to that which is to be known.
The obstacle to that which is to be known definitely does not accompany consciousness as retribution, because the latter is quite weak. It is not associated with ignorance and discernment, and the class of knowledge of emptiness of dharmas occurs simultaneously with it. Within the 7 evolving consciousnesses, there may be few or many dharmas that constitute this obstacle, as the case may be, just as was said of the passions. The 5 consciousnesses of the I, etc., are devoid of imagination and therefore definitely are not associated with views concerning dharmas, doubt, etc. The remainder, craving, etc., may all occur through the power of mind. This obstacle is only associated with the 2 kinds of minds consisting of the non-good and non-determined, because the treatises say that ignorance is only related to the non-good and non-determined, because delusion and non-delusion, etc., are not associated. This obstacle necessarily exists along with the obstacle of the passions, because this latter uses that former obstacle as its support.
Even though there is no difference in their substances, their functions are distinct. Therefore the 2 propensities are strong or weak according to which path is used, and one is eliminated prior or subsequently to the other. This obstacle is born of retribution in the category of non-defiled and non-determined, but not of the remaining 3 kinds, because the strength and functioning of dignity, etc., of those latter are slight, and they do not obstruct that which is to be known or bodhi. The name non-defiled is established from the point of view of the 2 vehicles, but it is also defiled from the point of view of bodhisattvas. If the obstacle to that which is to be known is made up of views, ignorance, etc., why do the scriptures say that its seeds are the stages of ignorance? It is referred to as ignorance in general because ignorance increases, not because of the absence of views, etc., just as the seeds of the passions are given the names of the 4 stages of all realms: desire for form, desire for becoming, and desire for craving. How could they also be devoid of pride, ignorance, etc.?
When these 2 obstacles originate from discrimination, they are categorized as being eliminated by the path of insight. When they originate spontaneously, they are categorized as being eliminated by the path of cultivation. Adherents of the 2 vehicles can only eliminate the obstacle of the passions. The bodhisattva eliminates both obstacles. Only the holy path is capable of eternally eliminating both kinds, but the subduing of the 2 as they occur in actual activity occurs in the impure path. Even though the bodhisattva abiding in the state of equipment subdues the gross, actual activity of the 2 obstacles, still, as far as the subtle, actual activities, and propensities of the 2 obstacles are concerned, the power of meditative tranquility and insight is slight and still incapable of destroying them.
In this state of equipment, one has not yet realized the true suchness of consciousness only. Through the power of resolve, one cultivates superior practices of various kinds, and, you should know, this is also included in the stage of resolve and application. What are the characteristics of the superior practices cultivated by the bodhisattva? In brief, they are of 2 kinds, that is, merit and knowledge. Those that are discernment by nature among the superior practices are all named knowledge, while the remainder are named merit. Also, the 6 perfections in their common characteristics are both merit and knowledgeable. In their specific characteristics, the first 5 are merit and the 6th is discernment. Or the first 3 are categorized as merit only, the last is only knowledge, and the remainder are both.
Again, there are 2 kinds of practices, that is, benefiting oneself and benefiting others. Through the power of mental disposition, all superior practices that one has cultivated are practices that benefit oneself and others. Speaking in terms of their distinct characteristics,
The 6 perfections and the 37 aids to body, etc., are practices for self-benefit, while the 4 means of conversion, the 4 immeasurables, etc., are all categorized as practices that benefit others. There is no end of the diversity of these practices. All are the superior practices cultivated in this state of equipment.
Even though in this state the 2 obstacles are not yet subdued and removed, and there are 3 regressions during the period one cultivates the superior practices, still, the bodhisattva can fortify his mind in respect of these 3 things and be bold and not regress in what he has realized and cultivated. The 3 possible regressions are that his mind falters upon hearing that supreme, perfect body is vast, great, profound, and distant, but recalling that others have realized great body he fortifies his mind, is bold, and does not regress, that his mind falters upon hearing that the perfection of giving, etc., is extremely difficult to cultivate, but aware that he is already mentally disposed and is capable of cultivating giving, etc., he fortifies his mind, is bold, and does not regress, that his mind falters upon hearing that the perfect transmutation of the support of Buddha is extremely difficult to realize, but recalling the coarse quality of the good of others and his own marvelous causes for body, he fortifies his mind, is bold, and does not regress. As a result of these 3 things, he fortifies his mind and with unshakable ardor he cultivates the various superior practices.
3. State of added effort. Next, what are the characteristics of the state of added effort? The verses of Vasubandhu say, setting the least tiling before one, and saying, it is of the nature of consciousness only, one does not really abide in consciousness only, because tier is something obtained. The treatise says that the bodhisattva starting out during the first incalculable eon provides himself well with the equipment of merits and knowledge, and the aids to liberation have been completed. In order to enter the path of insight and abide in the quality that all things have, of being consciousness only, he then cultivates the added efforts and subdues the 2 graspings, that is, he cultivates heat, summits, patience, and supreme worldly dharmas.
These 4 are given the comprehensive name of aids to penetration, because they are aids conducive to penetration. They are given the name of added effort, because they are near the path of insight. It does not mean that the former state of equipment is not added effort. The 4 dharmas of heat, etc., are established on the basis of being prior and subsequent states consisting of the 4 investigations and 4 ascertainments in accordance with reality. The 4 investigations refer to investigating names, meaning, nature, and differences as existing in a manner of speaking but non-existent in reality. To know totally in accordance with reality that these 4 do not exist apart from consciousness, and that consciousness does not exist either, is called ascertainment in accordance with reality. Names and meanings are distinct and are therefore investigated separately. Both are the same in 2 characteristics, which are nature and distinct characteristics, and are therefore reflected upon in unison.
On the basis of the samadhi, obtaining light, one commences the inferior investigation and contemplates the non-existence of the grasped. This establishes the state of heat, that is, in this state, one contemplates for the first time the 4 dharmas of names, etc., that are grasped as transformations of one's mind, and while accepting them as existing in a manner of speaking, one realizes that, in reality they cannot be obtained. The name, obtaining light, is established because it is the grasping of the mark of the antecedent to the sun of discernment of this acquired path. It is also named heat, because it is the mark of the antecedent of the fire of this acquired path. On the basis of the samadhi, increase in light, one commences the superior investigation and contemplates, anew, the non-existence of the grasped. This establishes the state of summits. That is, in this state one again contemplates the grasped 4 dharmas of names, etc., as transformations of one's own mind, accepting them as existing in a manner of speaking, though in reality they cannot be obtained. It is named increase of light because the characteristic of light grows.